Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Speaking Nerd podcast, where we talk about everything nerdy, everything pop culture, and everything awesome.
Yeah, that's it
And
right there.
he's not introducing our guest, but today we have Iron Ninja.
Yes,
Hello,
yes.
I am Okron.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Iron.
I love that.
That was just me, by the way. I can do that voice automatically.
Oh man.
It's not even like text to speech. Hi, I'm Iron. I do YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter at Iron Ninja 2000, and I do YouTube just Iron Ninja. Don't forget the hyphen. It's Spider-Man rules here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
As it should be.
So, yeah, when you're writing his name out, and also when you're writing your memoirs, don't forget the hyphen between Iron and Ninja. It's very important.
Yes, and whenever you write my actual name, always remember it's Zack. Never write an H. If you write an H, I will fucking find you from the grave. Even if I'm dead, I will come out of my grave and fucking kill you.
Oh my
He's gonna
god.
go Liam Neeson on you.
I'm sorry.
You know what? We deal with this constantly on the podcast, so like this is just a dime a dozen shit. So,
Yeah, this is pretty
I'm
normal
sorry.
compared to the
yeah,
podcast.
But
yeah.
before we actually get into the episode, I just wanted to give into a little bit of background. This is somebody who I've always wanted on the podcast, even when we started it back in October of last year. I knew right away that, because we were doing another sort of project together, which is coming out. I swear to God, it's coming out.
When?
When it's done. But
When will it be done?
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna be an asshole.
but yeah, like when I was starting up the podcast again, I knew that this was the guy I wanted on for even just an episode. I had some ideas for him, and as the months went on, our schedules just couldn't really line up, and since this Q&A that we did, he was interested in having a part in it, not an actual part, but a kind of made up joke on both of our behalfs. And he's just kind of like, hey, let's do the episode. And this is a topic that I wanted to do back in November when the PlayStation 5 launched. I was like, okay, let's, because we're having a person that wears fucking PlayStation, get up
Everything.
every day. Like just
Yeah.
that I figured that a PlayStation topic would be pretty much right up his alley. So for today's episode, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, hold on. I was just making sure some things. So everything's quiet. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm good. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, for today's episode, we're going to be going over our PlayStation memories. So, from the console that started off as a Nintendo system that kind of just migrated into its own thing. It's had various amounts of generations and also handhelds, and it's had a pretty amazing legacy, I would say. It had some bumps in the road for sure, but
Rocky days.
but I would say that for the most part,
Yeah.
I'd say for the most part that's they've definitely accomplished what they set out to do with the PlayStation, and they're probably the best thing on the market today.
Yeah, I think the PlayStation I think right now it is kind of the more go-to current gen platform.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo I think is the best platform in terms of ingenuity and just the idea of taking their things on the like basically really nice games on the go that are console last gen quality games on the go.
Mm-hmm.
And the PlayStation I think is the best go-to for current gen stuff, just mainly because of how much exclusives they have, the range that you can get your the amount of like just content on there in general is just I think a good place for it to be in terms of I feel like I'm talking out of my ass a little bit because I cannot speak today.
Some of us would call that sucking up, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm a suck up, all right. I fucking wear PlayStation everything here.
Yeah. So how we're gonna go about this is that we're just gonna go from each generation. We're sticking with mainline consoles because, if we spent time on the.
Well, hold up. We only got 2 handhelds though. Let's be real.
Well, we got 2 handhelds plus a VR headset, which I don't.
Well, I mean, the VR headset's more, I think, PS4. It just kind of, I think that I kind of like to lump that in with the PS4 generation as a whole.
Yeah, it feels
I mean,
like it's more of
I mean,
an extension of the PlayStation 4.
I mean, it was basically just an accessory.
Yeah, it was. It's like it's the equivalent of the iToy for the PS2, and
I remember
and how the Move was for the PS3.
Okay, you know what? How about
or like when the Xbox had the, what was it called? Kinect.
The
Kinect. Yeah, because that was such a success, obviously.
Okay. Actually, you know what? How we should go about this is that we'll mainly talk about the console generations, but we will give a passing mention to like, the PlayStation Portable and Vita, and also PlayStation VR.
You mean the portable nut?
Yeah. Yeah, that thing.
It's no one. Do you guys do not know the commercial?
I do, but I was just like.
I know it.
Do you know it, Ultra?
Which commercial are we talking?
He doesn't know.
Okay.
He doesn't know it if he says that.
Okay, so it's basically it's a squirrel walks up to a tree, and he just throws a rock at the tree, and then one of his friends comes out and he's like, "Hey, come out and play." He's like, "I can't. I'm playing Nut, but there's portable Nut." He's like, "What?" Yeah, it's a nut you can play with outside. PSP, it's a nut you can play with outside.
That is not right at all.
It's a real commercial, and they have a different version, but it's with mice and cheese.
Oh man!
Oh my gosh!
I remember these commercials.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It's not cringe anymore though. It's just funny, and it's like a great memory.
It's what advertising was like back in the back like when the PSP was coming out. Like I think it was like 2002, 2009 ish. Like that's when the life cycle was. So those are like the commercials that were coming out. Like if you watch some of the old PSP commercials, they're fucking awful. I'm telling you now, they are terrible.
There's definitely a lot of things you can say about PlayStation commercials in the mid to late 2000s, but we'll get there as we get along the podcast. But
I'm sorry, I'm just sidetracking everybody.
But
that's the literal definition of this podcast.
You know what? You're not even wrong.
Being sidetracked.
I would argue, but when I think about it, you're not wrong. So.
I mean, the original podcast I had on my channel, which is where I met Marvel, we were just being sidetracked the entire time.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get this train on the road, and let's talk about
train on the road.
Yeah,
trains don't.
Let's talk about the PS1. Let's talk about the PS1.
That's a dangerous train there. That is a very dangerous road you're driving down.
I mean, what type of train are you driving? This isn't Thomas. Thomas is gonna die on your train.
Thomas the Tank and Dankin.
All right.
PlayStation. Let's go.
The PlayStation 1 is a system that I have a lot of memory of watching other people play, but when it comes to actual experience with it, I don't have a lot of experience. Like I wasn't around. Like I
didn't play
like
the PS1.
No,
you knew.
When I got into video games.
I didn't play any PS1 games either. I actually I started playing some because I have a PS Classic with like that's modded with like 100 different games on it.
Okay, yeah,
So I didn't even grow up on that either.
that's the
You
correct
see-
answer for that.
You see, I had the PS1 because I am cool, and I played the original
Well,
Spider-Man.
What year were you playing it though?
That was like years and years ago. Like early 2000s.
Oh, so you were stuck with the hand-me-down PS1 because at that point the PS2 was out.
Probably, yeah. I remember playing Crash Bandicoot and
Oh yeah,
the
oh yeah.
and the Spider-Man game, like Spider-Man.
Enter Electro or the first one?
The first one,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
as in the Raimi,
Oh, the Raimi one?
Yeah, the Raimi one, where you
remember
could
that.
go around, in his proto suit from the movie.
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm thinking of maybe the PS2 version. There's a PS2 version of that.
Yeah, there's
I don't remember there being a
there's
I don't remember there being a PS1.
there's PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and whatever handhelds at the time. Like I don't think.
Yeah, I don't
PS1.
think there was a kind of PS1 version that was, I think it was released with Papa John's, and it was basically a modded version of the PS1 game that had the Raimi suit just switched in.
Yeah. I want to own that at some point. Like I know that's kind of like
It was a fun system.
I know that particular version of the game. It's just kind of like, why would anybody own this? But it's like I'd still want to own it for that fact. Swifty.
I mean, like.
Oh no, go ahead.
The main times I ever played it was so when I was a kid, my mom would have her friends over, like on the top level of our house, to just do stuff or whatever. I think they played the Wii the entire time, but I just played the PS1 downstairs.
Yeah. Swifty, have you played the PS1 or?
I got a short chance to play it. I never owned it because I didn't really get into video games until, or at least consoles, until about 2011. So I had been in the era of 360 and PS3 at that point. But I have played one, and I think PS1 was great. I think personally, when we move on to PS2, I'll have a lot more to say. But PS1, when I played it, I think I played as well the Raimi Spider-Man game, and that was really my only experience on it.
Yeah.
Again, as I guess stated, I didn't really play any PS1 games growing up. We had them when I was a kid. Because I was born right at the time when the PS2 came out, and my parents actually, I've had a PS2 since I was really born. So I didn't really get to play any PS1 games growing up. We had some, and I still do have most of them actually just sitting on one of the shelves here for just like kind of collectible sake. But I didn't really get to play any of them until like I finally got my PS Classic, and I modded it with like 100 different PS1 ROMs on it. So I finally got to take a look at the original Crash Bandicoot and the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater, which really doesn't hold up compared to Pro Skater 2. And like other games like Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, and I'm gonna say like even I was like surprised at how scared I got of the first Resident Evil. Like that, there's some really good scares in there.
Yeah. What about you, Alter? Have you had any experience with the PlayStation 1?
Alter's a youngin'.
Had a PS1 because I was broke.
Okay, that's what you said.
The PS1 in 2009. That tells you how broke my family was. But it was one of my first systems. I think I got a hand-me-down PS2 for my brother, and then I got a PS1 because I just wanted more than one system, which was useless because you can just play games on the PS2, but whatever. So my experiences were just basically just a lot of the original Tomb Raider, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
Not bad.
And I played some Crash Bandicoot because I had that as well. But that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just I was reminded of a game I think is absolutely phenomenal though. If you guys are willing to, have you guys ever played Abe's Odyssey?
I played it
no,
on
that's
a
a good game.
demo disc, and I don't own the full thing. I want to play it at some point, but
I have it both on the PS Classic, and I actually have. They made a remastered version for the PSP.
that's right.
I played the hell out of that game. It is one of the best experiences you could ever have. Like, it's so good. Such a just dark, depressing game, which is such like depressing themes, but it's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. I mean, the PlayStation 1, like, even though at the, like, in the early 2000s, I never had one, but, like, around 2010, 2011, like, we used to go out to garage sales a lot, and we found a PlayStation 1 in a briefcase, like a Sony labeled briefcase. And it was just, it was a PC, it was a
Did it come with
PS1.
a cocaine?
It was like a PS1, a whole bunch of games, and it's the kind of thing where, like, I didn't really play it a lot as a kid, but I'm starting to play these games nowadays, whether it's like on the disc or through emulation or whatever the fact. Like, it was a pretty interesting console for its time, especially since it was they were gravitating towards 3D with pretty much everything. But it's still a very like interesting gem of its time, and it was completely outclassed in every way by the PlayStation 2, which we're going to move on to right now. And I got to say, this is my favorite console of all time.
PS2?
With PS.
Yeah.
Yeah, PS2.
I agree. I think it's the greatest console of all time as well.
I think that the
Like it's a close
PS2
contender.
is in terms of like just what it is as a console and the kind of cultural like feeling as a console. I definitely think that it like in terms of how much it's sold and how much it is, I think it is the greatest system like that is ever released because of not only how much it was, what it meant to people during that time. Because for one, not only was it a game console, it was a DVD player. You could do all your movies. Yeah, it was like it was just there's the amount of exclusives that came out during that time. Then you have all like the just all the historical games that released then on that system. Like in general, like it's really did just kind of I think start like I think that most of the games that released on there, like we still see the echoes of what those games are today.
I would also say too, like, besides the fact that you can play, DVD players, like DVDs and that kind of thing, like it was also, I would say, like a pioneer for backwards compatibility, because literally you can play any PS1 game in the system, like even like you can use your memory card too, which a lot of consoles like at that time they weren't really doing that. Like,
well, I think it was just I think it's more because like this was like this went from a disc format type game console to another disc format type game console. Like we didn't really have that before. They were all cartridges, and so because they were all cartridges, they had to be designed differently and stuff like that. And they didn't per every system they had to be designed differently. And the only way you could play games like the NES games on an SNES was through an adapter. So I think it was just I definitely think it was a pioneer for that. I kind of look at it as it was kind of like it just kind of a no-brainer at that point.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm diminishing points any.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It was definitely I think it was the cornerstone of a lot of things that are now just universal in game consoles. So a lot of what is just normal today, consoles owe it to the PS2.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
there, because I think like, I mean, we have a lot of games today that do take that either that either have mechanics that came from games that released on that console, or are just directly straight up remasters from that console era.
Yeah.
So like we have just a lot of classic games that just came out on there. Like the Lego games started on that console, which is crazy to think about.
It's true. Yeah. Um, uh, just to kind of segue into this, but like, what are you guys' earliest memories of the PlayStation 2? And I'm just going to start with Iron Ninja since he's our guest here, and it's, you know, common courtesy for that kind of thing. So,
Well, my first memory actually, I think it's mostly what everybody's probably going to say: Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2. That was that's the first ever game I remember playing ever, and I remember playing it then and being really good at getting high up in the air while swinging. Now when I play it, I get depressed because of how hard it is to control, and I'm like, this was so much better when I was a kid.
yeah.
I always remember playing that game. I never got past that where you're in the arena fighting that guy. I always just restart the game after that.
Okay.
I would never get past that one arena fight scene. I forget who it's with because the character's not really a comic book character.
I think, was it Quentin Beck?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't with Mysterio. It was like this big arena. Like it wasn't the Mysterio scene in the Grand Central. It was the like I think it's the Square Garden or something like that. You're going into like this big arena and you're in this game trial or whatever against this one other guy.
Okay.
I forget his character's name, but I remember I would play that scene a lot just because I would just kind of get stuck on it and then I would just restart the game.
Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I would also say
but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would say that's I would also say that's pretty much how I got started was with Spider-Man 2. Like I woke up, it was like 11 in the morning. I was the last one to wake up, and I come downstairs, and everybody's huddled around the TV playing Spider-Man 2, like the first 2 or 3 levels of the game, and you know, just kind of, you know, from then on, games were either kind of like we rent them a lot from, you know, Blockbuster, or, you know, they'd be gifts at occasional points like birthdays, Christmas, that kind of thing. And, you know, I'm still playing PS2 games to this day. Like that is.
Same. I'm slowly going through Hulk Ultimate Destruction right now.
Oh, such a great game.
Ooh,
First playthrough, actually. Yeah. I
remember Josh from Panels to Pixels talked about that in one of his great videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, I've talked to him a couple times. He's a really wonderful dude. We played the Avengers game together.
He actually read one of my screenplays.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's a swell fella.
Yeah, he is.
A fell sweller.
Yeah. So, Swifty, what would you like say for earliest memories about the PlayStation 2?
Well, like Iron Ninja said, it was Spider-Man 2 for me.
Yeah.
I'll always have fond memories playing that game because, first off, it was like the groundwork for all the future Spider-Man games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And still to this day, it's a great role model for kind of the blueprint of what Spider-Man games should be. And yeah, that game I always associate with PS2 because I just had fond memories playing that game on the PlayStation 2. So that's really it. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it'll come back to me like in a little bit, but I'm just gonna think about other stuff that I have played on it.
Mm-hmm. Ultra, did you say your memories?
Definitely Spider-Man 2, but I also have this. It's just this random memory. of I was at a hotel and there was a PS2 there, and I just played random games.
What
That was just
hotel is
fun.
this? Because I want to go.
I think there's like a deer hunting game on there. It was just a lot of random games. It was a lot of fun.
I remember going to hotel when I used to go to old hotel, like some hotels. They used to have like a GameCube, like GameCubes just built into the TVs
Oh yeah.
for some reason. Really weird.
Alter, do you have any fond memories of PlayStation 2?
I'll be the first person to tell you that I had an experience without Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Wow, what a wonderful life you must have had. Not being influenced to Spider-Man when you were a kid. That must have actually been really great because then you don't have to have arguments on Twitter
That's
with
blasphemy.
dumb kids.
Yep.
There were two games. There were two games that I have fond memories of that took up like 90% of my childhood and my early gaming experiences. The first Raimi Spider-Man game and Batman Begins.
All right.
Oh, I love that.
Oh
movie.
yeah.
That is another
I-
one I
I-
would play.
I actually played Batman Begins on the GameCube, but I love
my
that game.
God. Bro, you have no idea how nostalgic I get when I play that game. But I also played a lot of the first Raimi Spider-Man, which was, the infinite web, where you can just it's comical nowadays if you can just keep swinging like just infinitely, like God's holding on to his
Web.
fucking webs.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's my early experiences, I guess. And I still collect games for the PS2, and there's a lot of experiences I didn't have on the PS2. Like there's a lot of iconic games that I've not played, but I can at least say I played Superman Returns and Batman Begins.
Oh god. Oh boy.
But yeah.
Superman Returns better than the Arkham Vr by far.
Shut your goddamn trash
Yes, sir.
mouth.
I swear to God.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. I think we should
No, but
cancel
still,
you now.
I still have never played Spider-Man 2. I have not even played that game.
Wow.
And I feel like
Yeah.
I'm spinning.
I think Spider-Man 2, playing it now, I can see a lot of the like how much it has kind of aged compared to like playing a game like the other Spider-Man games, like of course Spider-Man PS4, really wonderful. The comparing that swinging to Spider-Man 2 swinging, I can feel I feel like I'm just an old man playing it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just because gaming has come so far since then.
Yeah.
It doesn't
just in how-
diminish. It doesn't diminish how good it was. It just
Yeah,
means that we've come so far.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree there. I'm never saying that it's bad. I'm just saying when it's compared to like just how gaming is now, I feel like I feel like just an old man like trying to experience like what it was like back then and realizing, oh, this is what it was like.
Yeah, you
It's
know,
like
you know you're old when you're playing Spider-Man 2 and you forget the fact that that game does not autosave at all. Like you have
Definitely.
to you have to
Oh,
save
yeah.
you have to save your game when
Well, now I don't want to play it.
Honestly, I've been trying to get used to like saving my game manually because I'm playing a lot of RPGs now,
yeah.
and those you have to save manually on a lot of
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
So yeah, that is a learning curve to go through.
I mean I grew up with a lot of games that were manual save. Like one game that is probably the game I've played the most in my life is Batman Vengeance, even though nobody talks about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's legendary, bro. Love that.
Okay. If you had to pick your all-time favorite PS2 game, what would it be? Let's start off with Zack first.
San Andreas.
San Andreas.
I actually never played a GTA until I tried 5 out for like 2 minutes and got bored.
You
Um,
said you got
I
bored.
just love the random.
I just can't. I just started playing tried GTA 5 for like a couple minutes. I think it's just not for me. I don't think Rockstar
Yeah.
games are for Rockstar games. Just apparently aren't for me. I didn't like Red Dead Redemption 2 at all. I didn't enjoy playing
No, I
like just the
never
world.
did.
Yeah.
I feel awful for it, but like I just didn't enjoy it. I just felt so terrible for not enjoying it.
I haven't
I
played,
didn't enjoy a thing. I'm sorry.
I
Yeah, I
haven't
mean
played
that's
a
the
GTA game.
well, I mean that's the world of gaming though. You know, you have these sometimes these really popular styles of games, and it's not for everybody. I mean,
Definitely.
I played GTA only to play with friends. I'm not really a huge fan of the game. I don't think it's all that incredible. Um,
You guys are making me feel bad.
like leave.
I
No, I'm just kidding.
Nah.
I think I think artistic expression, like, video games, movies, TV, all of it, it's zero sum game, like, not in the cynical way, but you know some things will be for some people and some things won't.
Yeah.
I think there's something.
I've learned that I've learned that a lot over like past couple years. Just like the of like learning, hey, other people enjoy different things. Kind of deal with it,
Mhm.
Hmm.
because
Like,
like I remember I would get
exist.
yeah I remember when I was like younger I started getting a little more annoyed at the fact that certain games existed, but then I kind of realized, oh wait, other people just kind of enjoy it because like other people are different.
hmm
And
100%
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
it like I like I'm not a big RPG guy, but I've like JRPG guy in general. I don't really like a lot of I don't really can't get into a lot of JRPGs, but I still have a huge respect for people who enjoy those type of
Mhm.
games because
Yeah.
they are pretty creative. Like I actually tried out Persona 5 and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, we were talking about in the. Oh, sorry. No, no, no. You go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I think we've gone a little too far off from the PS2 stuff. So if we want to reel it back in, I
Yeah.
was gonna mention one of my favorite PS2 games, Lego Star Wars, 1 and 2.
So good.
Oh, great
Those,
pick.
Yeah,
yeah,
those are great.
that the classic.
Now I have more memories of that game on the Wii.
Oh yeah.
Or no,
I,
not the Wii. I'm sorry, not the Wii.
Dang.
The DS.
oh yeah. I have actually have the. I did had the PSP version for Lego Star Wars 2, which is literally just Lego Star Wars 2 for the PS2, because the
Mhm.
PSP was apparently that powerful that it could run a PS2 game.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, the Star Wars games were still. I mean, I know they're like so outdated, but I love them. Like, still, I will play them because I love them so
mhm,
much.
yeah.
And I have fond memories of those games. And I think I didn't play it on PS2, but I did play it on PS3. It was not Lego Star Wars 2 though. It was like the complete saga or whatever. Like when
Oh
that
yeah,
came
on the
out.
Wii. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you're talking
yeah,
about. That was I also had that. That is how I grew up on. That's how another where area I grew up on it.
yeah.
I think Lego Star Wars Complete Saga, I think, is the best way to play those games because they're both the same game combined.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alter that.
So, Swifty, favorite PS2 game?
Um, Probably out of the ones I've played that I can remember, Spider-Man or well, Spider-Man 2. Or I'm trying to remember, was Indiana Jones on PS2?
Like,
I feel like I remember
The
playing it
Lego
on
one?
PS2. Yeah, the Lego one.
yeah, that was me. It's too.
Yeah, I was on PS2.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah. That was one of my childhood favorites. So it's in between Spider-Man 2 and that. Not because it's like a great game, but I played it when I was so young, and it was just I have a lot of fond memories playing that game.
Yeah. What do you say, Ultra? Favorite PS2 game?
um, I'm definitely gonna agree that Spider-Man 2 is probably my favorite.
Okay. So I'm gonna go Ultimate Spider-Man, Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Ah, yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Ultimate Spider-Man's great.
Um, so yeah, Ultimate
That is
Spider.
actually the one Spider-Man game I have not played, actually.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I had a chance to grab it because I was at like a random bookstore and they had like this weird video game section, but they had like a special edition of it where it had like this holographic case and everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I had a chance to grab it, but I decided against it because I didn't there were some other games on there that I decided to grab. I think it was like a PS1 game. I forget which one it was, but I decided to grab that instead.
Do you
played all
remember?
that.
Do you remember how much that copy was? Just out of curiosity.
I cannot remember right now for the life of me. They also had like right next to it they had a like 2005 collection of every Spider-Man comic
Oh yeah.
for like $25.
Oh, it's so good.
Wow, that's a good deal.
Yeah, it was a really good deal. I also didn't end up buying that.
Why?
It was like a DVD thing,
That's
and
where
we
you
don't
messed
have,
up.
and you have to have like a thing for reading DVD files, and my laptop does not have that, so I would basically just be having a useless disc with nothing on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, Hulk
I-
Ultimate Destruction, and for those that know me, whether personal or just because I tweet about it all the fucking time, Destroy All Humans. I love that game, and
Obviously.
Yeah, it's great.
more people should play it. And I mean, there's a remake out now, so if you're gonna play it, I'd say play it that way. But
Definitely, I recommend anyone try that game out. It's great.
yeah. So should we mention the PSP at all? Because for me,
I would love to mention it.
Okay, why don't you talk about it? Because I got nothing to say. Like, I have little to no experience with it whatsoever.
I do recommend at least like tracking one down, like whether or not it's because there's a lot of different models that are like I think pretty cheap you can get.
Yeah.
Because it is an old system now, and a lot of people just don't really use it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's worth taking a look at because it had some really good exclusives, and it was a very, very, very powerful like handheld.
Yeah.
Like again, it could run like a lot of the Lego. It could run the original Lego Batman that was running on a PS3.
That's right.
Sure, it looked a little graphically downgraded, but it could run it the exact same game, like the exact same story. The graphics still looked really nice. It was all running on a small little thing the size of a tiny iPhone, and it had a disc. It was all disk drive based, so you actually could purchase movies for it. Which, by the way, the movies on there were honestly the weirdest ideas that they probably had for that thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't watch the movies anywhere else but on your PSP. It's like if the iPhone had a disc drive and they tried selling movies on it. That's the equivalent. That's the best I can equivalent it to.
Yeah. I actually own because I bought a PSP later, like around like 2-3 years ago, and I've been slowly grabbing some games here and there. Like it's the kind of thing where it's like on my shelf and I'm gonna play it eventually. But I own a UMD version of Spider-Man 2. And
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that is.
Yeah. It's weird because some of the I do want to say it's weird. Some of those movies. Some of them have special features, like all the special features on there.
Yeah.
Some of them just have the audio commentary, and then Spider-Man 2 has nothing.
Yeah.
Just the movie.
Just the movie.
Why would you not put the commentary in there?
I don't know, man. Who doesn't want to hear Sam Raimi?
I literally have all 3 movies. I bought them on Amazon like years and years ago, but I love listening to the commentary and special features for them.
Yeah.
I love listening to Sam Raimi speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 I'm sorry. I just saw something. My bad. I should have muted myself.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah.
Does anyone else want to chime in to the PSP topic?
Anyone had a PSP growing up?
I never actually did, and I wish I did because I knew people that did, and they always loved it.
Yeah,
I
I was the weird kid at school because everyone else had DSs. So
Yeah.
at recess, when everyone else would be whipping out their DSs to play some the screen share Mario Kart or whatever, where they're all playing as like a shy guy.
Yeah.
Here I was with my PSP listening to the Fred soundtrack on my with my headphones in on my PSP.
I love it.
personally, I played a lot of Game Boy.
Oh yeah, I have a Game Boy as well. Yeah.
I used to
Oh.
play the Batman Animated Series game on the Game Boy.
Oh, that Game Boy. I'm thinking Game Boy Advance. That's what I have.
Oh no, I played the older Game Boy.
Yeah, which one? Did you have a Game Boy Pocket or the
It-
huge brick that
Nobody
was the
had a
original,
fucking
original?
pocket.
It was the Pocket one. Yeah,
Okay.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a good system. My grandma actually won the original like brick that is like the original Game Boy that is like this giant brick
I,
of
th-
a
I think my dad has one in his garage.
yeah. Those actually go for a pretty penny.
I want to own that brick at some point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You want to own a brick?
Yes.
I want to build a house out of Game Boy.
Let's have that brick with the fucking Game Boy light attached to it, and then it's all good from there. So,
Yeah.
I guess we should just move on to.
Wait, well, one more thing before we head
okay.
out. Sorry,
All right.
I wanted to say one more game that I think that people should try, because it does have a remaster that is on the PS4. Is Loco Roco.
Yes, Loco Roco.
That is a fantastic game that will never have a sequel because, for one, the Japan Studios today has now basically just completely gone quiet for Sony. They're, I guess, just now going to be a just complete silent studio
It's
for
a
them.
shame.
Yeah, it sucks. And also because I don't think that Loco Roco could ever really make a comeback in general because of just the type of game genre that it is.
Yeah.
But I do recommend taking a look at the game on the PS4 because if you're going into it blind, you are going to see a lot of innuendos for a children's game. For a kid's game, there are a lot of innuendos.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. That's why I love the game so much.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we should just move on to the PlayStation 3 at this point, where this is probably the only major PlayStation, like this and the Vita are the only things that I really missed out on. I never had a PS3 growing up. Nobody I had, all of my friends, they didn't have PS3s. They only had Xbox 360s. And I'm sad because there was a lot of titles that I missed out on and I wish I could have played it in the moment. But what about you, Zach? Did you have a PlayStation 3? And
so for the first bit of the generation, we didn't actually have one because we had a Wii for most of the beginning of the generation.
Yeah.
When that released, and then my dad bought an Xbox 360 for a while, and we kind of had that as our base console.
Yeah.
We didn't play a lot of didn't have a lot of games for the Xbox 360. Hell, I like looking at my lineup now. It's really depressing because all we have is BioShock, Connect Adventures, and Disneyland and Connect.
Yeah.
But we got the PS3, I think, around 2008, and we were really excited because, for one, it could play Blu-ray discs, and not only that, just like and my dad bought a couple games. I'm trying to see here. The first game I know we got that I remember playing the most is Littlebigplanet 1, which I don't know if any of you follow me on Twitter, you know that I have a really heartfelt connection to Littlebigplanet. It means a lot to me as a person because that's kind of how I first got my creative brain flowing as a kid.
Yeah.
Any of you guys like had that experience, or has had the type of, or have a certain game like that?
Swifty Ultra.
No, Ultra, do you want to go first?
Honestly, that's as Marvel said, that's like the only one I pretty much missed out on.
I
Because my family had like the Wii and the Xbox 360. I was interested in it, but
Mm-hmm.
well, for me, like I said earlier, I didn't get into gaming until 2011 or so, and every console I played on was either someone else's or after I, started getting my own consoles. So, I wouldn't say for PS3 I had any games like that until much later, but not during the generation.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I wish I had because PS3 was always a console that it was like the console everyone I knew had, and I never
Yeah.
had.
Uh, well, I think it's not because it was like way behind in the console race for a lot of years. It didn't it only picked up steam during like the Connect stuff. It was like
Yeah.
after Halo 3 had released is when the PS3 kind of picked up steam because Xbox kind of didn't know what to do after Halo 3.
Yeah.
They kind of just kept making the sequels for games. They didn't really decide to make new games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So PS3, they kept out coming out with a new exclusive saying, hey, we got a new Ratchet and Clank game. Oh, hey, look, it's an original IP, another original IP, a sequel to that original IP. And then, oh, we have these exclusive like DLC content for Batman. They released like so many different like new exclusive IPs and so many different genres of games that it kind of skyrocketed the PS2's popularity, as well as like the because Blu-ray discs kind of won the disc wars between HD DVDs. So they won that war, and they kind of helped boost the PS3's popularity a little bit more. And it kind of still, and then the Kinect came out, and that was Xbox's focus, and that killed their sales, and so the PS3 beat Xbox for that generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a reason why.
Yeah, there was it's not because I don't think it was because the PS3 itself is a really great console, because like I do think it was a great console, but it wasn't like the best it could have been because of there was a lot of limitations that it had,
Yeah.
especially with its cell drive. That really kind of I think kind of ruined a lot of its marketing in the early years, because it was just so damn pricey. It was like $600 for the base console itself.
Yeah.
And that kind of ruined it for a while. And then they had the revitalized marketing with Kevin Butler, and the price dropped to about $300.
Yeah.
And that kind of skyrocketed its popularity. I got it. I think I got it around the time that it was still not a common thing to have, like 2008ish.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like the base big bulking model that looks like a space heater.
Yeah.
That was a good year.
It was. We got I think it was Iron Man's. The first Iron Man came out that year.
And The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
That was a big year for pop culture in general.
And the Incredible Hulk.
We don't talk about that.
Hey, Tim Roth is coming. Well, okay. Look, we're gonna have to start talking about it again because Tim Roth is coming back.
That's true.
Oh no.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I got really nothing else to say. The only thing I really will say about the PS3 is that it probably had some of the weirdest advertisements I've ever seen for a video game console.
The PlayStation loves their advertisements.
The baby advertisement, bro.
Yeah, this That
Classic.
just ingrained
It's
into
just a
my memory, and it'll
movie.
never leave. So, Alter, do you have anything on the PS3?
I was like the weird kid at my school that didn't have a PS3. I had a 360, and everyone else had a PS3.
Yeah.
Because Alter's a young
And I always feel like the outcast. So now I have beef with everyone who has a PS3
Yeah.
for that sole reason.
Does that mean you have a
I am
beef with
interested in getting one.
Ninja?
No. Yes. We'll exchange diss tracks later.
Anyway, before we before we talk about the PlayStation 4, which I'm sure most of us here have a thing to say about that, I want to just briefly mention the PlayStation Vita, which I never had. I want to get at some point because there are some quality titles. But yeah, that's really all I can say about it. But what about you, Zack? Did you ever have any connection to the Vita, or?
I did not. I don't have much connection with it. I don't actually own one right now.
Yeah.
I want to get one because I just kind of want to complete my console collection. Because I have all my consoles still lined up. I have a PS2, Wii, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have my handhelds on the top. But I think that the PS Vita, because it is basically one of Sony's like biggest flops in terms of what it like in terms of just like consoles in general.
Yeah.
And I think that was mainly just due to the fact that it was a powerhouse and development costs for making games on that kind of were pretty big, because if you wanted to make a game on that thing, you want to make it really look really nice, and you want to make it look impressive. So the development cost for that would skyrocket compared to developing on a 3DS.
Yeah.
And so games that were released on there were few and far between. And not only that, it was a handheld. And handhelds at that point were kind of dying at that point because it was just because it was starting the mobile phone reign.
Yes.
On like
right.
just the mobile apps and mobile games. So that kind of mostly destroyed the the handheld market for a little bit. Nintendo was able to keep it up strong, but I think PlayStation kind of dwindled because they were competing again with the 3DS. Games that had Mario Kart on it and stuff like that. And Sony's exclusives, as great as they are, I don't think they could sell as much as a Mario game could on a DS. Especially with what it was.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. It's just like it definitely it makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like I ramble too much when it comes to this stuff because I just know too much about it.
Yeah.
I apologize in advance if it gets too rambly.
No, you're good.
Rambly's good.
That's probably like 50% of our episodes. It's just
that's 100% of our episodes.
Yeah, it's a shame really, because like there was the Vita, there was tons of potential there,
yeah,
like
and there were some really great games on there.
Yeah,
there was Tearaway. We had a bunch of just, honestly, I only know Tearaway, to be honest. I'm talking to my ass. We actually had a Batman Arkham Origins on there.
Oh god.
Blackgate. We had the Blackgate game on there.
Yeah.
We had
Uncharted.
There was an Uncharted. Yeah.
Was Gravity Rush also on there?
Yeah, Gravity Rush was also on there. They had they attempted PlayStation All Stars on there.
Sly Cooper 4
oh yeah, Sly Cooper.
Yeah, they had a
good lineup. They also had a Littlebigplanet as well on there. They had a good lineup. I just think that there was definitely I think just the timing of it, plus just the way what type of console it was kind of just destroyed any chance it had of
Yeah.
succeeding.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Anybody else want to chime in to the Vita before we move on?
I agree with Iron Ninja. I just yeah.
What about you, Swifty?
No, see, I never played on it.
I thought you were gonna stop at no. um,
Yeah, I got one, but you know.
yeah. What about you, Walter?
Pretty sure like 90% of the population does not have a Vita. So
Fair enough.
yeah, my answer is no. I don't have a Vita, and I've never had an experience with a Vita. It is a
I'd
system
like
that
to correct you on
definitely-
this. I'd like to correct you on this. 99% of the population does have a Vita.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I'd like to correct
Yeah,
you on
and
that.
What?
99.999.9.
You must get your facts straight when you're among the PlayStation god himself.
Yeah, that
Well, one of, like,
0.0001% is Scott the Waz.
Yes, he's always the point zero
bought the
zero
only
one
Vita that
percent.
exists.
He
Scott
owns
the
the only
Waz.
Vita.
Scott the Waz does everything that everyone doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah, he has my unborn baby.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. He has everybody's future selves in the closet.
And that baby's name is
She's
Wayne.
my wife's boyfriend.
All right. So we're on PS4 now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we'll not beat around the bush anymore. We'll talk about the PlayStation 4, which is definitely like for me, it's top 10 in my console rankings. But like,
Definitely top 10.
Yeah, I think that in terms of just the type of the consoles I've played, it is probably in my top 10. But I think that's more just by default because I haven't played that many I haven't played NES at the NES. I haven't really played much of Sega Genesis games.
Yeah.
I think it's just more there by default because I've only played through about I guess at 4 at this point console generations.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me personally, I think it's in the top 10 by default. But I will say that it does earn its spot in that top 10 because it is a really good fucking console.
Yeah. You know, like tons of first-party games.
Tons of great third-party games with exclusive content.
Yeah. One thing that always sticks out to me about the PlayStation 4 was, I mean, besides like when they did their new AAA titles, like they were amazing. For most of them, some of them that we will not speak of didn't really hit the bar. But like another thing is that like
really, which one are you referring to? I'd love to hear what you're referring to.
Abby. That's all I'll say.
Oh.
It's like
that.
But another thing is that like it was a generation that was mostly led by remasters, and remakes, which there's some damn good remakes. Like my go-tos are definitely like the Crash and Spyro trilogies,
and Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil,
that was definitely great.
Destroy All Humans, like I mentioned earlier. Like their remakes on there were quality, but like that was pretty much most of what we were getting throughout its lifespan, and it's kind of a shame
definitely. Too. I think that generation, PS4 generation in general, I think it was great for what was remastered because it was mostly they filtered out kind of the bad games that were made.
Yeah.
Some of the bad games did come in, Beyond Two Souls, for instance. But most of the time we got like solid remasters of games. It weren't games that were they were remastered for a reason,
Yeah.
kind of. And the games that got remakes, they were remade for a reason, because we look at that hardware, at the PS4 hardware, and we're like, hey, we could do more with this. We could look at this old game from the 90s and we can fully realize it as the way it could have been intended.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that we were able to get, not only that, it's just that we had Crash Bandicoot make a comeback.
Yeah.
That we had Resident Evil like actually become a horror genre again.
Mm-hmm.
And this generation, I think, really started, in my opinion, at just I think it was like a huge gaming revolution in my personal thoughts, because
Definitely.
we went from the PS3 generation, which didn't start really that great, and ended on a pretty high note. But it's still, I think the PS3 generation was still more about winning people over again to play games.
Yeah.
And now that you've won them over, you have to innovate and you have to keep them invested. And so PS4 generation was more about keeping them invested in these worlds and characters and franchises. So we had games like Detroit Become Human, which some people don't like. I was fine with it. I think it's better experience as a YouTube video and not a game, but it's great.
Yeah.
It's a fine game. We had that where your choices mostly mattered. We had God of War, another a fantastic and technically impressive experience.
Yeah. Phenomenal, I would say.
Yeah. It incredibly phenomenal and technically impressive. I was just replaying it on the PS5, which looks absolutely gorgeous. It is 4K 60 frames, absolutely beautiful. It blows my mind that a thing like that ran on a PS4, like a console that is now 7 years old. Like,
yeah,
absolutely insane. And we also had, of course, other games that weren't first party, but they were third party that had exclusive content, like Resident Evil 7 with its VR support, or
right, yeah.
Final Fantasy 7, which is basically a timed exclusive right now, and is going to be a timed exclusive, I think, until April. I think. But we had that, and we had just so many like exclusive DLCs. The Batman 66 suit for Arkham Knight, which apparently has stayed an exclusive.
Yes, it has.
But yeah, do you guys have anything to add?
It was definitely, like, for me, it was definitely the generation where I really experimented with, because before then, like, I'd play, like, the games before were mostly like superhero type, not really like outside of that range. But with the PlayStation 4, I got to experience a lot of titles, and God of War, the Last of Us, the first Last of Us game, which is like top 10 game of all time. Like it's like those kind of titles I really tried to go for. And why now I'm into more kind of story-driven games. Like, those are probably like right next to platformers. I would say those are like my favorite type of games to play. But
do you have a personal favorite that came from the PS4 generation?
I'd say God of War, and I'd say like God of War and Spider-Man are probably like the two contenders for that generation for me. But I played a lot of a lot of stuff, like, but those two stood out among the rest. And
yeah,
it's great.
I think that generation and this generation in general, like, saw like the most beautiful games released on there, because because the hardware was, you could make beautiful surroundings and scenery. Like, you could look at Uncharted 4 for a perfect example of that. Like, holy shit, that game is absolutely gorgeous
Yeah.
on that. And if you want to look at games that like just take the advantage of the hardware to its fullest, I just say like look at Uncharted 4 or Spider-Man PS4. Those, or even the newest game, Ghost of Tsushima. All of those games,
Yes.
like they take the hardware to its limits with how beautiful the game can look and how detailed everything is.
Yeah. And even though like Last of Us Part 2, like I'll give it shit mostly for its story, but like for like graphics wise, it is like absolutely incredible.
Yeah, graphics, it's beautiful, and some of its and a lot of its physics and its animations are gorgeous.
Yeah.
It just sucks that the story just wasn't what the first game was.
Yeah, no. So what about the rest of you guys? Swifty, Ultra, Altered, any thoughts, memories, favorite games for the
I
PlayStation 4?
actually, the PS4 is what got me into like starting streaming.
Yeah.
Like for like the whole summer last year, I streamed random games. Like I played through all of Batman Telltale, streamed that. Um, I played it through all of Spider-Man PS4, played some, streamed all of that. It was just a lot of fun, and it helped me, find something actually fun to do during a very special year last year. And I'd say Spider-Man PS4 is probably the standout for me because it had an amazing, very fun, engaging gameplay. It looks great, and that got to me.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, the game that I like if it's an exclusive, it's Uncharted 4. But if it's not an exclusive, the game I think I played the most is Fallout 4. Surprising, I know, if you follow me on social media. Very surprising seeing how I of course, like as everyone knows, I totally hate that series in general. I have a distaste for Fallout all around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Ugh.
But Fallout 4 was my first Fallout, and so I kind of just fell in love with like the world that it was and the design elements of it. I know it's not the best Fallout, definitely not the best, but I think my favorite for that generation was just Fallout because I just fell in love with that and kind of just got enveloped. And what's the word? God, enveloped in the world.
Yeah.
And then 76 happened, and then I got incredibly depressed.
I'm just gonna put that review up there in the top right corner, so go check it out on his channel. So
yeah, that is on. Looking back at that video, I already like hate it because just how much my words and like how I edit it.
Yeah,
it's just not the best. It is not a good video. Do not watch it, please.
it's up in the corner if you guys want to
watch my other videos, please. God.
And then only watch that video.
What about you, Swifty?
Watch my Christmas special, please.
Yeah. What about you, Swifty? Have any input on the PlayStation 4?
I think the PlayStation 4 achieved something that not a lot of companies, and not just specifically video games, just companies generally can achieve, and that is, I mean, they literally defined a portion of pop culture with the PlayStation 4 because of how popular it was. It's become like a staple of teenagers. How everyone is like, yo, you got the PlayStation 4, you got the PlayStation, you know what I mean? And I think that's something that they should always be looked at for because it's such a great console. I mean, it's not like it's probably in my top 10, but I mean, it's not my favorite, but it's in my top 10.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of fond memories of PS4 exclusives. and the hype surrounding them. So that's my thoughts.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Walter?
All right, so my thoughts on the PS4. First of all, it's not only in my top 10 favorite systems, probably top 5. This is the thing that I have been using nonstop for everything for the past what like nearly 5 years, and
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say except that it's just a great piece of hardware. There, you know what? That's it.
Favorite game?
Pretty. My favorite game. Oh my god. All right, let me try to answer this question. You know, there's a lot of games that released on the system that I could say are my favorite, but I'd say the ones that I've played the most will have to be Insomniac's Spider-Man and maybe Arkham Knight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God of War's up there too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember when I
I
first got my PlayStation 4, it was with Arkham Knight bundled in. Also Last of Us, but I just completely cut you off, so I don't tell you to.
Oh no, you're fine.
Um,
I was gonna say because I always like to kind of mention why I think why the PS4 was as successful as it was. Another reason I think is also important, is because of how terrible Xbox was at the time. Again, I know Xbox making terrible business strategies. Who would have thought? Uh, Xbox, of course, at the time was their marketing for the Xbox 360 is saying, "Oh, if you want to use a used game, you got to pay a fee. You have to connect. You have to connect is mandatory at all times, and it has to connect to the internet 24/7." So, PlayStation, in their infinite wisdom, made an ad saying, "Here's how you share used games on PS4." And then it's just a guy handing a used game to a friend.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the ad ends.
I remember that.
Which was absolutely brilliant in terms of their marketing strategy. It was basically the biggest. I think I say it best in my video when I say that the PS4 trolled the gaming industry on a company-wide scale.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were doing. They were basically just shoving it in Xbox's faces that, hey, you guys made a terrible decision. We're gonna poke fun at you for the next couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And then Xbox is like, oh man, don't be mean to us. Why don't we be friends, man? You want to do crossplay? And PlayStation was kind of smug and didn't want to do that for a while. And until they eventually were just like, oh, fine, if you would stop talking about it.
and then Nintendo swoops in. It's just like, give us Banjo and Cuphead and fuck off.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's such a shame. Like literally. God damn it.
But I will say another great I want to kind of swing over to PSVR if any of you guys have tried that. One of the
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, for the next two things that we're gonna talk about, I feel like most of us are not really gonna have a leg to it, and I feel like you're the only one who really has something to say. But
it's okay, I understand. I was gonna say two great games that I do think people should at least try if you have the chance. Is Tetris Effect and Trover Saves the Universe.
Yeah.
Those two are fantastic games that definitely need to be just at least tried. You can play them both without a VR headset.
Yeah.
So definitely recommend playing it. It is Trover Saves the Universe, for those who don't know, is a game by Justin Roiland, creator of Rick and Morty. It is basically his own action adventure type combat story, and really funny. A lot of just off the
Sounds
cuff
awesome.
humor. And Tetris Effect is Tetris if you were on drugs. I recommend Tetris Effect immensely if you are, if you're off your if you're right now in a rehab facility and want to have that experience of being on drugs but can't have drugs. Don't listen to my advice. I'm terrible at it.
I think you might also find a review of Trevor Saves the Universe up in the top right corner there.
Oh, really? Who did this? I bet he's an asshole. Ginger ass bitch.
Hey man, that's no way to talk about Godzilla Mendoza. He's doing his best. He's doing his best.
Fuck that guy. He told me my shoes weren't tied once. Fucking liar.
Oh my god. It's
All right.
I almost bought a PlayStation VR when they were doing their Iron Man bundle. Like I had some money saved up at the time, and I wanted to get it, but then and then some bills came in, and it kind of just came out of nowhere, so I wasn't able to grab one. But there's still some VR games like I want to try out eventually, like Trover Saves the Universe, of course, Iron Man VR, Batman Arkham VR. Since
I watched
Arkham VR is not great.
Yeah,
I will
no,
tell
it's
you
not.
that.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
watched
good.
the game-
don't recommend it.
I watched the gameplay for Arkham. I was expecting it to be, an actual Arkham, like one of the Arkham games, but I was not.
yeah, it's not that at all. It's basically like a glorified tech demo. Which I mean, that was kind of the thing for when it launched, was most of its games were, just little
nice tech demos, but they were priced. Their prices were terrible, though.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Yeah.
Batman Arkham VR was like in the 40s, so it was I think it was like $50 or $40.
Yeah, I want to say around there.
And that was just a no. And like even some other like tech demos that are like less than an hour were costing like $7 to $30.
Yeah, it's a shame when Spider-Man beats you on that front. And that game, like the Far From Home one, is completely free. You don't need to pay for it, and you're literally just swinging around an open world. Like,
yeah, I don't
awesome
know
stuff.
if that one is. I go through that. I play it every once in a while just to like kind of zone out.
Yeah,
it is so fucking good. Oh my god, it's surprising how good that is for the budget that they had. It's like, because they had no budget, because this was more just like, all right, you guys are making this, just get it out there, and they just made it. It was really good.
They did, yeah.
No New York landmarks though, which is really funny, because they could not afford any New York landmarks. It is all just made up buildings. The NPCs, they don't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, that is all I have for PSVR. If anyone else wants to add anything, or we can move on.
It's Ultra Swifty.
No.
No.
No. I can't afford any VR because I'm poor. So.
Yeah. So I guess we should just move on to our last note of conversation, which is the PlayStation 5, which all of us but one, like, I don't have one, Swifty doesn't have one, Ultra doesn't have one, but he does have an Xbox Series X, which...
good for you, man.
Yeah, I split the price with my brother.
Nice.
So, back to the PlayStation 5. Zach, you bought one. You actually pre-ordered one, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I pre-ordered it the day pre-orders opened. Like, it was 11 o'clock at night. I was constantly refreshing Walmart's homepage.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be able to get one because of somehow I was able to have enough money to purchase it and convince my family to put in some money as well so I can get it. And just luck, I was like, I swear, if I didn't click like within milliseconds, I probably would have not been able to get it. Like,
Yeah.
but I was lucky enough to get it, and for some reason, it kept on saying it was delayed in my shipping. But then I would check like, you can check like through FedEx what's coming in on the day, like what's coming in on certain days,
Right.
and then on the day that PS5 was coming out, like the package listing was for an item that was the exact dimensions of a PS5.
Wow.
So that kind of confirmed it for me. I was excited, and yeah, I have it right next to my TV here. I get to experience it to the fullest. I have a 4K TV,
Awesome.
so I feel like I'm bragging, but sorry.
No, you're good.
You're good.
Yeah, yeah, but
I
was-
I actually pre-ordered the Xbox One X the day it,
Day
became
of.
available to pre-order.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. The One X or the Series X?
I think
Oh,
he means
Series X,
the
whatever.
Series X.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Because I was gonna say
The
Xbox
names-
One X is a thing.
let's be
It's-
real though. The
it's all
Xbox names are
confusing.
confusing. Yeah, it is
Completely
extremely confusing.
Yeah. They're both fun consoles. I mean, I'd love to play the PS5 sometime. I just don't have the all that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd
Mhm.
say for me, when the money's
So-
right, PlayStation 5 is probably the console I'm going for the generation. But
Yeah, I think not only is it a powerhouse, because let's be real, both consoles are pretty consistent in their power. They are not like, yeah, sure, the Xbox has more RAM, and yeah, the PS5's SSD is a little bit faster.
Yeah.
All in all, they're about the same in terms of what the game's quality are going to be. They're both powerhouses. I think that the PS5 though right now is, I think, the best go-to because of what will be on there in terms of its exclusives. Because
it's true. Yeah.
not to diss Xbox owners. I'm not trying to diss you in any way, but with the Xbox consoles right now, they're releasing all their games so far. You can purchase on your PC. There hasn't been really a true exclusive for Xbox in a really long time.
Yeah.
I think if there is, it'll probably be with Gotham Knights. There's a possibility that Microsoft might buy WB Games.
I mean, yeah, but even then, then that's wasting like millions of dollars of development time
Definitely.
on like on a PS5 version, and Xbox. I know Xbox is definitely open to releasing things on PS5. I mean, heck, PlayStation is now releasing a game on the Xbox Series X, which is the MLB The Show.
Right. Yeah.
So
I definitely agree with you on that.
But I think Xbox right now, like even Halo Infinite, like the big thing that was going to release for the Xbox,
It's coming to PC.
yeah, that's going to be that's coming not only just PC, it's going to be available on Steam. The big the main area where you buy PC games.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, it's not just going to be on your. It's like you could have downloaded it through the Xbox store, the Microsoft store on your PC, which is like something you can get automatically on there. But
Right.
now you can just purchase it through Steam, which I think Xbox itself just doesn't have enough to sell you on the system. I think it's just another place to play games at this point.
Yeah.
It's not like its own thing anymore. It's less of a. It's like the Nintendo Switch. There's a reason you'd want to purchase the Nintendo Switch, not only just because of the exclusives, but because of what it can do. You can take it on the go. the controllers come off, it has all these incredible like experiences like that involve motion controls, or you have Ring Fit Adventures, which is an exercise game. Xbox really doesn't have that now. Even like when they tried to embrace that idea, it didn't really work because the technology that they tried using and implementing, the games they made for that just weren't that engaging. And now they're trying to go full force on this incredibly powerful system with really no games.
Yeah.
And like and no like true exclusive for that system to really take advantage of the hardware. Because I think I want to I always like to preface this. I think an exclusive is definitely important for a console because it can show what the consoles a developer who knows that consoles inside and out can really play with its limits and really extend the console to like its outer like to its most fullest potential. It's like if you look at a game like Uncharted 4 and then you compare it to a game like any Assassin's Creed game that were coming out during that time, you can see the difference in quality of what the like the texture quality, the animation quality, or just the overall detail in the worlds. You can tell there's like this small little differences in there that kind of limit in terms of the Assassin's Creed game compared to an Uncharted 4. Because Naughty Dog, they're solely working on a PS4. They know that console's insides and outs. So they get to like really play with the limits on there. And when you're releasing a game on not only your main system, but also on the previous generation and a PC release, you don't really get to play with that the upgraded system.
Mm. Yeah.
I am so sorry again. I'm rambling.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're good. No issue there. You know, we always encourage.
You are the guest star.
That's true.
yeah. I just leave you guys late. It's the reason why I'm saying sorry is because I guess I leave you guys kind of just not knowing what to say back.
That's the usual.
Man, I'm just here to listen to you ramble. Like I don't care. Like if I say anything, like I'm just like yeah. It's like,
Okay.
but getting back to the PlayStation 5, just for like on a couple last note kind of things.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite game as of this moment, and what game are you looking forward to the most?
I guess as of this moment, because I only have like 5 games on here so far. It's Miles Morales. My most hated game right now is Sackboy. Fuck Sackboy and his clothy bitch ass. I fucking hate it. It is depressing to me.
I don't even know what Sackboy is.
Don't look at it. It's depressing because you go from Littlebigplanet, this really nice creative world where it's very where you say, look, this is your world, do whatever you want with it. We have this fun little story as well that talks about creativity, and it's just kind of wholesome-ish. And then they completely scrap this whole 2D platformer. They completely scrap that entire idea and say, let's just make Super Mario 3D World. And we give they gave Sackboy a voice, a child's voice for some reason.
Oh no.
No Stephen Fry narration anymore.
Oh my god.
Stephen Fry's completely gone. And then they add a bunch of other characters we never have heard of before. And they just say, here's a Sackboy game. You like it? It was really just, and it's slow. It is monotonous. The completion stuff for completion is irritating. It's just not fun for me playing it because there's so much you could have done with at least maybe attempting a Littlebigplanet 4, or at least attempt to keep the franchise alive, because Littlebigplanet 3 is like dead at this point because the developers completely gave up on it after like 3 years.
Yeah.
Overall, the game I'm most excited for though If you saw my Twitter feed, it's definitely Kenya Bridge of Spirits.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that.
I was freaking out over the trailer that we saw today, because that game looks absolutely beautiful, coming from the guys who made the Majora's Mask short. Absolutely gorgeous. It looks so beautiful, and not only that, it's coming out on PS4 as well, so no one has an excuse not to play it.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend that. Another game that I'm now excited for is that Sifu we just saw.
Oh yeah.
That looked
yeah.
really cool. Like this kind of, it looked very. It felt very much like it was the Daredevil fight scene, but it's a whole game around that.
Yeah.
That looked fantastic. I love that. And also Oddworld's Abe's Exodus. That looks really cool.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Soulstorm. Soulstorm, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a remake of Exodus, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Overall, that is the most I've been excited for so far. Also, I mean, I'm excited for Rift Apart and God of War, but as someone who we literally just played God of War like 2 years ago, so I'm not as excited as I want to be.
Yeah.
I just think I think that this is more a side game because it's only been a little bit over less than 3 years, and I don't think they could have developed an entire crazy PS5 experience in less than and it would have taken maybe possibly a year and a half to write the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would have had enough time to make a whole game. So I think it's more going to be a side game similar to Miles Morales or Lost Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
But I am excited for Rift Apart as well. I think Rift Apart will be really great. But I'm also kind of a little bit distant right now because Ratchet and Clank I think their humor was best on the PS2 and PS3 eras. When the PS4 remake happened, I think it kind of lost a lot of its humor and a little bit of its charm, and kind of went a little more kid-like. I'm not the only one that feels that. You can watch some other YouTubers, and many YouTubers feel that. Kid Icarus, for instance, he's mentioned that a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the game is solid. It is a really solid game. But I am really excited to see what they'll do with this. They're gonna have ray tracing and work with the SSD a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited for that. But I'm just kind of distant because of what they're gonna do with the story and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can definitely see those concerns because I played the PS2 games. I played the first 3 PS2 games, and I really enjoyed their humor and that stuff, and I did play the PS4 one, and I could kind of see where everyone was going with the the humor and everything. So, yeah. What about you guys, Ultra Swifty? What game are you looking forward to for the PlayStation 5?
I really want to play Miles Morales at some point.
Oh, Miles Morales is good.
Mm-hmm.
Game I'm looking forward to, overall, consoles. Gotham Knights.
Yep.
Definitely, yeah. I'm extremely excited for that.
Because I'm excited that WB Montreal is actually getting a chance to make
a game. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they were done dirty making Arkham Origin.
Definitely. I am excited for that. I think the only thing I am remotely kind of scared of is because it seems very Avengers-like. And I did not like Avengers at all. Many people.
That is well documented in this video you can find in the top right corner.
My God. I did not like Avengers, and I'm a little on the fence on that game in particular, just because it's another gear system type game. It has It's a 4-player, multiplayer focused, story driven game that seems to be having this live service element to it. So I hope to God that is not doing what I think it's going to do. But
The only difference between that and Avengers to me is that they seem to have much more of an emphasis on the story than they do on the co-op, which is something that Avengers didn't have. They were more emphasis on the multiplayer than they did on the story. And
yeah, I definitely can see that.
Yeah, like the trailer really like portrayed how big of a plot the Court of Owls is going to be, and I'm just hoping that they have the best of both worlds.
I hope so too. I think it's just because like the first trailer for the Avengers was very story focused that I'm still not sold on it.
That's true.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need to see that. Oh no, this is extremely story focused. We have this entire story planned out that is going to last you about 20 hours and not just 8 hours. It's 8 hours if you're going like slow.
Yeah, I mean,
because like you could beat Avengers by including doing a bunch of side missions in only roughly about 8 hours.
Yeah, I mean, if we're comparing Gotham Knights to the Arkham games, I know that Arkham Knight, it took me about I played it in one sitting and it took me about 12 hours, maybe 13, give or take. But Arkham City was like 3.5 hours it took me to beat it, and
Dang, were you speedrunning?
No, just
Well,
because I played it so many times.
Oh, okay.
Not the first time. But,
yeah, that's what I'm more speaking like a first time experience type deal, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, well, yeah, Arkham Knight took me a few days then, because I mean, I would never want to play it in a full sitting because I feel like it could take away from the experience. So I'm hoping that Gotham Knights is something that I want to savor while I'm playing it. Like, okay, this was great. I want to be left on a cliffhanger, you know?
yeah.
Because the story's so engaging. And like you said, I hope it's not like Avengers, because it does really look similar.
It does scare me slightly that this is the direction superhero games are sadly going to go down, because it does seem like an obvious direction for them to go, because it's a really easy way to monetize costumes and saying, hey, you remember this costume from the Ultimate Universe? Hey, it looks shitty now, so hey, give us $20.
I saw that today.
Referencing what was just released today for Avengers, the shitty the ultimate Iron Man that has apparently arc reactors in his eyes.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I retweeted that in Doctor Who, but it looked like a robot from the show, and it looked really bad.
Yeah, it was not. It's not good.
I mean, it clearly looked garbage. Like
it
could
does.
they not?
The just the helmet in general, I think, ruins the entire design.
Mm-hmm.
They had so many choices, and they chose the wrong one. But yeah, I hope that this is not the case for Gotham Knights, even though I don't like
so.
I already don't like a lot of the costumes. Robin's in particular really just I don't like Robin's costume.
I hate Robin's costume.
I'm not... So
what were you saying? Sorry, I
just cut out.
I'm not gonna play him anyways because I've
got cut off again.
I'm not gonna play him because I never really liked his character.
Oh, okay. Tim Drake Robin, you mean?
Wait, that's Tim Drake?
Yeah.
Yes, it's Tim Drake.
Oh, I totally thought that was Damien.
No, Damien is
Tim Drake
Damien's always uses a sword for like combat. Yeah. Tim uses
Drake
a bow staff.
Tim is and he usually has a much different suit. It looks more like Damien to me.
Yeah,
it does. I get the vibe too, but
yeah, I get the vibe too.
I'm gonna main as like Nightwing and Batgirl.
Yeah, probably me too. If when that game releases,
I wasn't big on Red Hood's costume either, to be honest with you. I feel
I
like
think
it's kind of fake.
it looks fine. I'm not head over heels over it. I think Red Hood's design overall, it just really doesn't leave much room for experimentation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of more you either go with the original costume or you create an abomination.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think my problem with Red Hood is that like he's also another thing is that he's a little bit too bulked up for me. Like he's way bigger than
yeah,
all
he's
like all of them combined.
it's just that Lazarus pit, man. They threw him in there, and then it's the best steroid.
It's like Barry Allen. It's like Barry Allen in the premiere of the
Yeah,
Game
no,
Man.
it's just Hugh Jackman every time he has to play Wolverine.
just throw him in the Lazarus pit. It's like, yeah, it'll be Wolverine. Yeah, I'd say like just to cap things off, I'd say like Gotham Knights is definitely a game I'm looking forward to, and Spider-Man and God of War are definitely like the top of the list for me, especially like God of War because lately I've just been in a mood and been wanting to play through the game again, and that was like that game I got it June of 2018 and I platinumed it. Like I spent an entire summer on that game, and yeah, so I'm definitely excited for it. But anyway, that was the podcast. Wow, this is probably like our longest episode yet, but I don't mind.
See, that's what happens when you have me. That's what happens when you have me on. I just ramble for about 2 hours, and then you have a podcast episode.
Well, I loved having you on. You were a great guest, and
Yeah, me too.
I would love
It was
to
a lot
see you
of
come
fun.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
would be
if I get more free time, I'll definitely be happy to join you guys.
For those of you who are not subscribed, there you can find his channel in the link down below, and also, like I'm sure I probably annotated most of his videos just from just from the top right corner. I think.
Yeah, the Quentin. I have like 6 videos right now. One is terrible. The rest I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah, in the spirit of PlayStation, I recommend you go check out his PlayStation 5 video. Like it is fucking phenomenal. I love it so much.
Yeah.
If you haven't subscribed, do so now.
Yeah, definitely. I would really recommend it. I have a lot more fun videos in the future. One is a very repetitive type video.
Groundhog Day.
Yep. Yeah. Zack Stewart. It's me, Ned Ryerson.
If you don't put that in the intro.
Oh, I'm working it in. I'm rewriting the script right now to have that in there. Also, I am working on a Last of Us 2 rewrite and a video that talks about the history of microtransactions.
Ooh, interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that goes through the history and kind of is like both a defense and completely against microtransactions at the same time.
Interesting.
I'm interested
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, links down below. Links down below for all of my co-hosts and people who joined me on that episode. So, thank you to Batman Ultra, Swifty, and Alter who left earlier due to internet problems. But it's all good. You know that happens.
And Iron Ninja, most of all, as our brilliant guest.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. This was an amazing episode. I'm definitely glad to get this topic, this weight off my shoulder, since it's probably one of the things.
Now you have another bat-shaped weight on your shoulder.
I was gonna say now because I mean, if we're ever gonna have you on the podcast again, you know for a fact that we're gonna talk about Nintendo and your job, your time there.
I don't work for them. My time there.
Your time there, like that's definitely a point of conversation that I'm interested in. But,
actually, if I can kind of just get it, it wasn't really that much of a position. I was more just went to stores and advertised stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that crazy of a job, but it was fun.
So you were basically Reggie.
Reggie if he was if he was just kind of standing inside of a Walmart, basically. That was
Discount
basically
Reggie.
discount Reggie. Yes, I was a discount Reggie.
You should put that in your Twitter name.
Oh,
Discount Reggie.
that's Doug Bowser now. No, I'm kidding. Doug Bowser's great, but anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share all that fun stuff. Be sure to follow us, and also links to my social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and also my Discord server. You know, we come up with some fun stuff here and there on here.
Yeah,
so,
we do. Every 25 episodes, there's one good one.
Yeah. But like I keep saying, you know, go subscribe to Zack, and once again, I want to thank him for coming on as our guest. It's been a while since we've had a special guest on here.
I'm glad I was glad to come on. You guys are really great.
Awesome. But
Same to you.
Have a great night. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to take care of yourselves. See ya.
Thank you.
Same bet time, same bet channel.